My son's teacher is forcing me to invite 72 people to his birthday party because that's her rule. So I told her to F off because I am not her 6-year-old student she can boss around. I got a call from my son's, 6, teacher today. Let's say her name is Ms. Goldbaum. She says, "Hi, are you Al's father?" I say yes and ask if everything is okay. She tells me that she understands he is having a birthday party and that he invited a few of his friends from class, but not everyone. I said yeah, there are a few kids in there that he has problems with, and also I don't think we can really handle hosting 24 kids and their parents. She then tells me that there is a rule that if any kids in the class are invited, all kids in the class are invited. I told her it is an event off school hours on private property in my home. She can no more tell me what I do there and who I can and can't invite any more than I can decide who is invited to her Thanksgiving dinner. She then tells me there is a good reason for the rule since kids get their feelings hurt if they get left out. So then I pointed out to her that there are 24 kids in the class. If their parents attend the party with them, then that can be upwards of 72 people, and I told her that's just not a reasonable thing to ask. I also pointed out that he has friends from other classes attending. So do I have to invite that whole other class too? She then said AI is in my class. He is under my supervision. This is my rule. I then told her that AI was only under her supervision while he was in class. I am the one throwing the party, and she doesn't get to make rules for my house or me. She then said if it involves her class, she does. After a bit of back and forth on this, I lost my cool. I said, "Lady, it's pretty clear that you're too used to bossing around kids who have to listen to you and that you don't seem to understand that your little fiefdom ends at the end of the school day and doesn't go further than schoolhouse gates. I am not a 6-year-old in your class. I'm a 38-year-old union electrician planning a private event in my own home, off school hours. If you think you're the one to make the rules for me, in my home, on which I pay the mortgage, you can go F yourself and there isn't a goddamn thing you can do about it." She then kind of stammered and I ended the call. My wife agrees that the school has no business telling us who we can and can't invite into our home and that they don't make rules for our house. However, she says I went too far in telling Ms. Goldbaum to go fuck herself. I am very comfortable with telling her that she has no right to tell us who we can and can't invite into our home and that it is crazy I might have to invite up to 72 people for my son to have any friends from his class attend, but in truth, I do kind of wish I left that last go fuck yourself part off. But my friends at work and a few other parents told me someone needed to take her down a peg since she was getting too big for her britches and deserved a lesson about overstepping. So am I the a-hole? Edit. Most of the invites were done by my wife directly texting the other kids' families. There were a few kids where my son wanted to invite them, but I didn't have their family's contact info. So, we gave him a few sealed envelopes with notes inside saying we understand the boys are friends and that we're having an event for his birthday, and even aside from that, we'd like to set up play dates. From there, the family contacts us and then myself and my wife do the invites after we chat with the family for a bit. My son himself doesn't do the invites. He is a 6-year-old boy. We do the invites through the other parents. Update. I decided to ask for a meeting with the school administrator and Ms. Goldbaum to address the issue. I figured it was best to approach this calmly and clear things up. When the meeting started, I apologized for losing my temper and for the language I used during the phone call. I wanted to make sure that part was out of the way, but I also needed to explain the situation clearly. I recounted what happened, explaining that Ms. Goldbaum had called me about my son's birthday party, insisting that I invite the entire class or no one at all. I then politely asked the administrator if this was actual school policy because, frankly, it sounded ridiculous to me. The administrator looked surprised and told me that no such rule existed for private events held outside of school hours. It became clear that this was something Ms. Goldbaum had taken upon herself. As the conversation continued, it turned out that Ms. Goldbaum had a bit of a history with overstepping boundaries. There was an example brought up where she'd previously insisted that all parents in her class attend a holiday gift exchange, even though some parents had scheduling conflicts and weren't interested. She'd apparently guilt-tripped them into participating, and it caused a bit of drama among the parents. The administrator acknowledged that there had been complaints about her behavior before. After some discussion, the administrator assured me that Ms. Goldbaum would be spoken to about this incident and that this was not the first time her self-righteous attitude had caused problems. The administrator assured me that she'd be suspended for a short time to reflect on her conduct and that they would make it clear to her where her responsibilities ended. In the end, everything worked out. We had a fantastic birthday party with a reasonable number of kids and their parents, and my son had a blast. No unnecessary drama, no forced invitations. Just a fun day for him and his actual friends.